There's something fundamentally wrong with the way we're dealing with terrorism. We find ourselves recently facing another terror attack here in the UK, less than 2 weeks after the Manchester bombing. In 2.5 months, the UK has suffered 3 horrible attacks, one after the other. The 22nd of March, 2017, Westminster, 5 dead, 49 injured. The 22nd of May, 2017, Manchester, 22 dead and 120 injured. The 3rd of June, London Bridge, 7 dead, 48 injured. Iraq has witnessed the Baghdad attacks on the 30th of May, 2017, killing at least 30 and wounding dozens, as well as Afghanistan suffering from the Kabul attack on the 31st of May 2017, killing over 150 and injuring 413. The fear and hatred and confusion has been felt worldwide. All eyes are on the Muslims, yet the Muslims have nothing more to say but to blame it on foreign policy and to reiterate that Islam is a religion of peace. I'm not claiming that foreign policy doesn't play a role, but I think it's time us Muslims stop with the defensive posture and open the doors for an actual discussion to take place about this corruption that clearly exists. What is the root, fundamental source that sprouted terrorism in the name of Islam? How long has killing the innocent in the name of Islam existed? Who was the first to kill innocent men, women and children in the name of Islam? And what ideology today holds on to this barbaric understanding of Islam? These are pretty important questions, and it's important that they're answered.
And yes, we do need to have some difficult conversations, starting with Saudi Arabia and other Gulf states who have funded and fueled extremist ideology.
Saudi funding extremism is a well-known fact, but not enough weight is given to understanding the part about the extreme ideology they hold and what it entails. Saudi, of course, is the primary propagator and hub of the Salafi movement. Here's Adil al-Kalbani, former Imam of the Masjid al-Haram in Mecca.
عبرت تعبير آخر قلت داعش نبتة سلفية.
نبتة سلفية هي
شلون؟ كيف نبتة سلفية؟
هم يستدلون، شوف يعني بعض الأخوان يقول لك أن صناعة استخباراتية أو صناعة. الاستخبارات لا تنشئ شيئا جديدا، هي تستغل الموجود. فهم يعني هم استغلوا من يحمل ذلك الفكر. الفكر الذي تحمله داعش فكر سلفي. يستدلون بما في كتبنا نحن وفي مبادئنا نحن. فإذا الفكرة الأصلية والمنبت الأصلي منبت سلفي. نعم قد تأتي الاستخبارات أو دول أخرى مستفيدة وتنمي هذا وتسهل لهم الأمور، تعطيهم، وهي لا شك مدت بأسلحة ومدت بعتاد وترك لها مجال رحب لتسير في الأرض. هذا لا شك المراه منتفع، لكن المنتفع استغل مبدأ موجودا عندنا وموجود في كتبنا وبين ظهرانينا، بل هناك من يحمل نفس الفكر لكن بأسلوب يعني معتم.
According to the Global Terrorism Database, 94% of terrorism in the name of Islam has been conducted by the Salafi movement. They also account for 100% of terrorism in the name of Islam carried out in the West. But what if I told you that it isn't Salafism itself that is the actual core culprit? I mean, yes, it is a culprit in its own right, and the terrorists that we see today blowing themselves up are indeed Salafis. But we still need to ask ourselves, what is the underlying reason they do what they do? Firstly, what is Salafism? Salafism is a movement within the so-called Sunni religion that aims to bring people back to what they view to be the proper understanding of Islam. The Islam that was understood by the so-called Salaf, or the righteous predecessors as they call them, Abu Bakr, Umar and Aisha, just to name a few. These historical characters began the chain reaction of violent campaigns and expansionist movements in the name of Islam, dictating who lives and who dies, regardless of their age or their innocence. They are the first individuals to kill innocent people in the name of Islam, starting with Umar ibn al-Khattab's attack on the Prophet's own daughter, Fatima al-Zahra, blessings be upon her. What's shocking is your average peaceful Muslim loves and reveres the likes of Abu Bakr, Umar and Aisha. In this situation, ignorance is far from bliss, as their acceptance of these criminals enables generation after generation to potentially slip and fall into Salafi circles and be groomed into the next Salman Abadi. Aisha, one of their primary role models, is famous for the Battle of the Camel, where she waged a bloody war against the Prophet's own flesh and blood, in which thousands and thousands of Muslims were killed. How are we to move forward when over 1 billion people worldwide celebrate bloodthirsty war criminals of the 7th century, and more so take them as role models? This is the issue. While it seems we are still far off from the global community at the very least discussing this core problem, there are some, namely Duncan Lewis, the Director General of Security of the Australian Security Intelligence Organisation, that are brave enough to say the obvious.
Violence, and to the extent that there is violent extremism, which is very frequently inspired by a warped version of Sunni Islam, that's when our interests are invoked.
Let's be real. It surely is not a coincidence that all these terrorists that attack the West are a part of the so-called Sunni religion. Regardless, what's important is how we move forward. Western governments need to stop being hypocritical in claiming that they are at war with terrorism while simultaneously benefiting from deep relationships with Saudi and other terrorist sponsors. America will have its hands stained in blood by the oncoming slaughter that Saudi will directly or indirectly conduct with the recent weapons deal. All Salafi organizations and mosques in the UK must be investigated. As a priority, those preaching hatred or violence must be closed, and potential terrorists must be arrested. We need to also have an open conversation about the historical roots of terrorism in the name of Islam, in order to educate and enlighten Muslims so that they may protect themselves. The particular historical characters such as Abu Bakr, Umar and Aisha must be criminalized, and it must be illegal to call to their ideology. Non-Muslims are required to become aware of who these historical characters were and to be confident enough to condemn them, regardless of the sensitivity of Muslims. So-called Sunnis are required to be honest and willing to disassociate from Abu Bakr and Umar. And of course the Shia, who are very well informed about all of this, need to stand up and be the voice that shows society this poison that has camouflaged itself amongst the Muslim masses. For the Shia who tell us to stop adding fuel to the fire, as if this is our intention, we say that we must speak the truth no matter how bitter it may be. If we are aware of the true cause of terrorism, then we are obliged to speak out about it in order that a solution can arise. And you Shia are more aware of this than any other group, as it is found in Kitab Sulaym, Hadith 67, narrated from Imam Ali, blessings be upon him, that Abu Bakr and Umar will have the burden of the errors of the entire Ummah, and surely all the blood that is shed till the Day of Judgment, the wealth that is consumed unlawfully, the raping of women, and the command that is forced will be on these two. As well as in Bihar al-Anwar, volume 47, page 120, narrated from Imam Ja'far al-Sadiq, blessings be upon him. Abu Bakr and Umar are the cause of all injustice.